Jurors reach a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial. We'll have more on the indictments against former Quapaw Nation officials. How some four-staters are celebrating the unofficial marijuana holiday, 420.
The Four States' most watched news starts now.
It's been a cold day and it's going to be a colder night. This is KOAM News at 5. We go now to Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, we had the snow through most of the morning hours. Most of it really melted on contact, but we did at one point in time get about 3/4 of an inch of snow and then it quickly melted off. Now we got to deal with the cold. And of course, you don't want to freeze this late in the spring, but we have freeze warnings. The entire viewing areas temperatures are going to drop off during the overnight hours for us tonight. We still have some clouds and some little tiny showers mixed in with a little bit of sleet behind all the snow that we had during the morning hours. Look at this big band that pushed through the morning, early afternoon, and then pretty much rotating out of here. But temperatures are cold, a little bit warmer in our western counties where a little bit of sunshine has popped out. Everybody else really sitting upper 30s to near 40 degrees. So through the evening hours, we're going to slide back through the 40s, 30s, down into the 20s. Later on tonight, you can see the clouds starting to break up. Temperatures eventually drop into the upper 20s, so a very hard freeze down. And it looks like you definitely need to take care of the plants and the trees if possible for us tonight. When are we going to warm up? We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. Guilty on all 3 counts. Jurors in the trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin this afternoon convicted him on all charges in the death of George Floyd. The verdict came only a day after the case went to the jury. Reporter Michael George has more now from Minneapolis.
The jury in the Derek Chauvin murder trial has found him guilty of all charges.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Outside the courthouse, people reacted to the verdict.
I'm so grateful to God. I'm so happy. I'm so glad we got this. We needed this. The country needed this. The world needed this. It's not a black or white issue. It's a human rights issue, and we need to see change.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was facing charges for killing George Floyd when he knelt on his neck for more than 9 minutes last May. The jury reviewed 3 weeks of testimony from 45 witnesses in one of the most closely watched murder trials in American history. The jury took less than a full day to reach its verdict. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Again, jurors found Chauvin guilty of all 3 charges against him. The most serious of those charges carries a maximum penalty of up to 40 years in prison. Brings us to today's KOAM News Now Insta poll. The question is, do you believe justice was served in the Chauvin trial? You can give your opinion at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. We also invite you to go to our Facebook page to leave additional thoughts. Facebook says it took action ahead of the highly anticipated verdict in this trial. The social media company says it'll limit posts that contain misinformation and hate speech related to the trial. Facebook says it'll also identify and delete posts urging people to bring weapons to Minneapolis. We have more details on the charges filed by the Quapaw Nation against former Chairman John Berry and former Secretary-Treasurer Tamara Smiley Reeves. KOAM's Chris Warner joins us from the newsroom now with more.
Well, on Monday, we brought you the list of charges and allegations made by the Quapaw Nation against former Chairman John Berry and former Secretary-Treasurer Tamara Smiley Reeves. Today, we're taking a closer look at those indictments against Mr. Berry. Berry faces a total of 11 indictments, but he's not the only one. In addition to Berry, Tamara Smiley Reeves, the former Secretary-Treasurer, is facing 8 indictments. There's also a civil case followed by the Quapaw Nation against Berry, Smiley Reeves, and 7 others. They include Jack Brill, Janet Cummings, George McWaters, Marilyn Rogers, Sherry Smiley, Tina Smith, and the heirs of Merlin Jones Jr. Jones passed away earlier this month. Those charges include fraud, constructive fraud, conversion, and unjust enrichment. Now, there's also a defamation suit in the District Court of Cleveland County, Oklahoma, filed on behalf of John Berry and those named in the suit by the Quapaw Nation. We'll have more on the charges tonight at 6. You can find all of the court documents on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Reporting live in Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Thanks, Chris. We'll see you at 6. It's April 20th, or 420, an unofficial counterculture holiday celebrating cannabis. And it's the first one since medical marijuana dispensaries opened in southwest Missouri. Missouri-made marijuana in Joplin had specials to celebrate the day and gave away free pizza to the first 50 customers. Other dispensaries in the area had specials meeting the needs of dozens of customers. Also in Joplin, Shango Dispensary opened on 32nd Street.
And then everything just kind of fell into place, right date, right time. So here we are on 420, grand opening.
We'll really inherit the culture, and just 420 is 420. You know, it's time to get medicated.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear from the Joplin Police Department on their response during the cannabis holiday. A little bit later, more people turn to solar energy.
The solar energy industry is heating up. I'm Chris Martinez with a look at how more Americans are tapping into the power of the sun.
And next in Health Watch, European regulators make a decision on future use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine.
Employer.
European drug regulators gave their decision on the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. The rollout remains on pause in the U.S. because of a rare side effect. Reporter Nancy Chen has the latest on the pandemic.
European regulators say with more than 3 million deaths from COVID-19 around the world, the benefits of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine outweigh the risks.
I don't need to tell you that there is untold human suffering behind all of these cases, and these vaccines play an immensely important role.
The agency that regulates drugs for the EU did find a possible link between the shot and the very rare blood clots reported in the U.S. and says a warning should be added to the vaccine's labels.
When vaccines are rolled out to a large number of people, it is possible that very rare side effects can occur.
Here in the U.S., a decision could come by Friday on whether to resume the J&J shots.
One of the possibilities would be to bring them back, but to do it with some form of restriction or some form of warning.
With all Americans over 16 now eligible for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, this Virginia high school is bringing the shots to the students. About 65 signed up, and health officials say it's just the beginning.
We've got plans to go into some other school systems and offer similar clinics at other area high schools. We're really excited about that.
About 50% of American adults have had at least one dose. But with other parts of the world falling behind, the State Department is warning against international travel. An updated advisory is expected within days, warning against visits to roughly 80% of the world's countries. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Johnson & Johnson says it'll revise its vaccine label and resume shipments to Europe. Your gut may not provide the best protection against COVID-19. Immune cells that circulate in the digestive system typically help ward off viruses and infections throughout the body. But German researchers say that's not the case with COVID-19. They found the gut's immune response is much lower in fighting the coronavirus. Doctors say this new information could have a huge impact on possible oral vaccines in development. The Biden administration considers changes to smoking products content to reduce harmful smoking effects. The administration is weighing a proposal for the reduction in the amount of nicotine to non-addictive or minimally addictive levels in all cigarettes, or a menthol cigarette ban. The Washington Post says there's strong support in the FDA for banning both menthol cigarettes and small cigars. The FDA has a deadline of April 29th to respond to a citizen petition regarding the menthol ban. Omega-3 supplements could help slow the process of aging. Doctors at The Ohio State University recently discovered taking 2.5 grams of the vitamin daily helps the body resist the damaging impact of stress. Researchers say omega-3 supplements were found beneficial for adults who led both healthy and sedentary lifestyles. And not getting enough uninterrupted sleep could increase your risk of early death. European researchers say unconscious wakefulness is common in sleep patterns, but too much of it could double the chance of dying from cardiovascular issues. The risk is higher in women. Pain, temperatures, and light can trigger unconscious wakefulness. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, Biden administration officials testify in front of the Senate about the president's infrastructure plan.
And the snow is out of here, but now we have to deal with the freezing temperatures. We're going to look at that forecast coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nasty day for us today. Snow moved in during the early morning hours and then lasted most of the morning into the early afternoon and then quickly melted. Some areas had accumulations of 1 to 2 inches, and then some areas didn't really accumulate at all. It's all gone now, but officially in Joplin, about 3/4 of an inch. So for the season, almost 20 inches of snow. Our average is only 12. It used to be about 19 inches, but with the warming climate, that average has been dropping. I forecasted 15 for this winter, but 19 inches. So we had quite a bit of snow. Of course, majority of that occurred in the month of February. Look at our temperature change. This is 24-hour temperature change. It's about 30, a little bit more, 30 degrees colder than it was at this time last night. Of course, yesterday we did go into the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. 41 in Nevada, Anderson, 39 in Carthage, 41 in Miami, Pittsburgh. A little bit warmer western counties where a little bit of sunshine has been popping out, but the entire Central Plains dealing with this cold air mass sitting right on top of us. Thankfully, it's going to start to retreat as we go into the next couple days, and we'll start to warm things back up. Still the clouds. We have these spotty little sleet showers out there currently sitting at 39. North winds at about 10. Humidity, of course, is still high at 79%. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 40s because most of us are near 40, 30s, and then eventually we're going to dip down into the mid to upper 20s. So this is going to be a pretty hard freeze across the region. That's why we have freeze warnings in effect for the entire viewing area for us tonight. All right, you can see the spotty showers across the region. These are kind of sleet showers mixed in with a little bit of rain over the past several hours, but behind this big band of snow that rolled in earlier for us today. So we have the clouds and again, these spotty showers, but you can see the clouds starting to break up a bit on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, and eventually all the clouds will break up for us a little bit later on tonight. So this system is rotating out. Our next storm system, you can see it out across parts of California and Nevada. That will start to affect us late Thursday, giving us chances for rain Thursday, Friday, and even into the weekend. Look at our temps tonight. So mid to upper 20s, very cold. Of course, hopefully it doesn't affect any plants or trees. And then we get right back above freezing early tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, it will be a little bit warmer than what we have seen today. We'll start at 27, 50 by noon, high temp right around 55 during the afternoon hours. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. We still may get a little bit of a patchy frost across the region as we head into Thursday morning, and then the clouds increase, and we'll start to see some showers increasing, especially as we head into Thursday afternoon. So this first wave rotates in, then on Friday, a better chance for at least widespread rain. This is going to last into Saturday morning, but I think Saturday afternoon looks okay. We start to warm back up as we head into Sunday. Monday looks great. We're going to push 80, but then by Tuesday, this is going to be our next threat for severe weather. A pretty strong storm system is going to pull out. We'll get showers, we'll get thunderstorms, and most likely we'll have strong to severe storms next Tuesday. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that over the next few days. 20s tonight, 55 tomorrow, 35 tomorrow night, 57 on Thursday, up to 62 with the rain on Friday. Morning rain Saturday. Look at Sunday. Look at Monday. 74, then 80, 76 with those thunderstorms next Tuesday.
It's hard to imagine that we could be approaching 80 degrees in less than a week.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. We were 72 yesterday.
Yeah, and sub-freezing tonight. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, a growing number of homeowners install solar panels. First, though, we honor a local World War II veteran. William Kester served in the U.S. Army in 1945 and 1946. His hometown, Yates Center, Kansas. And we salute Technician 4th grade William Kester, a 4-state hero. A Senate committee today held its first hearing on the president's more than $2 trillion infrastructure package, with several top cabinet officials in the hot seat. Senate Republicans say a bipartisan infrastructure bill is possible, but add it needs to be targeted and not raise taxes. Biden administration officials have suggested the president would support breaking up pieces of his plan into smaller bills. The United Nations is calling for the U.S. to step up when it comes to climate change. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is asking the United States to commit this week to cutting its greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030. The United States is the second biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, behind only China. It's the dawn of a new day for solar energy. A growing number of homeowners are installing the sun-powered panels, and some experts believe the industry will keep rising. Chris Martinez reports.
Solar panels are going up on Peter Samsel's roof. The Massachusetts homeowner says helping the environment was his top priority.
I want it to be a proven technology, and now it is.
It cost him about $21,000 after tax credits and rebates, but he expects to save about $3,000 a year in energy.
It should pay me back within about 7 or 8 years so that I break even at that point and then start saving.
I've been very happy with the results.
Just up the road, John Perizzo installed solar 2 years ago. He occasionally needs electricity from the grid when it snows, but most months the panels power his house. And in his state, he receives a paid credit when they produce extra energy.
I think it's almost a no-brainer.
With more affordable prices and government tax credits, installations are on the rise. The Solar Energy Industries Association says 4% of U.S. homes currently have panels, but that number is projected to more than triple by 2030. Homeowners in warm, sunny states like California are more likely to install the technology, but it's now being adopted in colder parts of the country. It's hard to tell this Wisconsin house has a solar roof.
It looks like a futuristic roof.
Jason Lacine decided to have a Tesla roof put in on his new home. The strong tempered glass tiles work like solar.
It's roughly, in this area, about 3 times the cost of a really nice shingle roof.
The power created recharges a battery like this one that distributes electricity to the house.
We love it.
The system is significantly more expensive than traditional solar, but Lacine says having the look is worth it. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Current federal tax credits for solar end in 2024, but the industry is pushing Congress to extend them. Apple says it's reached a deal to reinstate Parler. The social network favored by supporters of former President Trump says it'll be back on Apple devices starting next week. The iPhone maker says the conservative social network has pledged to make significant changes to how it moderates content. A final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next with a reaction to the guilty verdicts in the Chauvin trial. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on the charges filed against former Quapaw Nation Chairman John Barry. Plus, the Oklahoma House of Representatives passes a bill banning transgender athletes from competing in girls' and women's sports. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. All right, now let's take another look at our KOAM News Now Insta poll. We're asking, do you believe justice was served in the Chauvin trial? So far, 72% say yes. Still have time to participate at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Don't forget to also leave your thoughts on our Facebook page. Checking back with Doug Heddy now in advance of a sub-freezing night.
Yeah, a pretty hard freeze across the region. Most of us are going to drop back right around 27 degrees for an overnight low. So you may want to keep your plants covered or cover them, of course, as we go into tomorrow morning. And then we get above freezing. It's 55 for a high, 35 tomorrow night, so we could still have some patchy frost. Rain rolls back in, especially late Thursday, most of the day Friday into Saturday morning, and then we really warm up to 80 by Monday. Thunderstorms, good bet, by next Tuesday.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next with much more on the Chauvin trial. Of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.